Yo, what's up? It's your host Toast. Welcome to a casual video. Today I will be narrating the change of a radiator on a 2005 Hyundai Tiburon V6. It's actually called the Tuscani. And yeah, it's a 2.7 liter V6. Yep, alright. So, some things to note before you start this job is the battery. It is usually it's the first thing you do when you start any project on the car. And because I guess this is other people might watch this, I will also recommend disconnecting the battery before starting the work on your car, but I didn't do that. Second thing to note, checking the car. You do not have to jack the car in order to do this project, but my car was jacked at the time because there was other work being done to it. One thing to know about this video is that I took a radiator from a 2.0 liter Tiburon before, so that's what's in this vehicle. It's not a 2.7 liter radiator because this is a salvage vehicle, so the radiator was damaged in the accident. I have it plated, it drives, whatever. Anyway, yeah, so that's what's in it right now, but it's the same thing, so it's an easy tutorial. This is this is beginner level for cars, so that's all you have to know. One thing I just thought of before number 4 is that this is a standard car, not an automatic, and that will change things. I'll explain that later. Oh crap. Number 4, the Hyundai Elantra has the same radiator as the Hyundai Tiburon. Somebody helped me when I didn't know what to do, and they told me that they showed me a parts page and the parts were compatible, so I bought it, and sure enough it's a fit. So this is the first time. It's interesting because this is the first time that I've ever swapped a part from a different vehicle and it fit. It's pretty new experience. Number 5, if you do happen to be doing this yourself, please dispose of the coolant properly, as in you put it in a sealed container and bring it to a recycling plant near you. Because it is poisonous, it's bad for you, it's bad for the environment. Tools you'll need: 3/8 ratchet, an extension. It really helps, big time. There, I'll do that. An extension helps big time. You don't need it, but it lets make life easy. And when you're working from the top of the car, extensions are useful, long extensions. The short extension is good for the other bolts. And the sizes are only 2 sizes. It is a 10mm and a 12mm. Kind of gripping tools you'll need is water pipe pliers, slip I forgot what they're called, slip pliers. I didn't need the needle nose. I didn't need the slip pliers either. Water pipe pliers really help. And you will need 2 screwdrivers. One that is handy, like really small, like that, with a good size, whatever. Doesn't actually even have to be a good size, just any one that's short like that. And a big sized screwdriver, but a big sized screwdriver, but as you can see, it's a flathead, by the way. Anyway, this is crap. I have this in the wrong order. Let me just forward a bit. Okay, because when you do this, it may look something like this. Do not use a Phillips, and I recommend this because this is made of kind of rubber-y material. I don't know what, and you actually will probably just strip it, and then even a small flathead won't work anymore. But you want to use the big to guarantee that it works, but do not use a Phillips, I guess, unless you have a big Phillips. Ah, crap. Going back to this, step 1, drain the coolant. You don't have to run the engine. I didn't. Who cares? Step 2, do this. There's only 2 coolant, you know, things like this. And look at that, it was dry as a bone because that's why I have to change it. It has been leaking. And then there's one at the bottom. And notice, like, when you're at the bottom, you want to make sure that the clamp right here, you keep it like at the bottom. If you slip it up, then you're just gonna have trouble changing this later if you have to. A rad hose, that's what I forgot to call it. See all the white? That's just dried up coolant that's needed to change. And there'll probably be some left, I guess, but I wasn't expecting it, and the bucket wasn't there, and I got it on my own. This is the only time that this screwdriver comes in handy, is taking off the sensors. There's one on the right and one on the left. They are for your fans. They're your cooling fans. Don't be nervous about taking off sensors. Like, you're not going to damage them. Just don't damage the clip part, I guess. There's one bolt. If you just lay under the car, you can see it. It's very hard to miss. Use a 10mm. This one I didn't use the extension because, yeah, it actually didn't work there, the extension. So this one I used the short extension. It did make things easier because I couldn't have my hand there. And it's another 10mm just on the other side. They're hard to miss. They're hard to miss. Just look right in the middle. There will be room for your socket. The next bolts are right at the top, right in the corners. And I will explain to you what these bolts are. All they do, they don't even hold the radiator to the car. Well, I guess they kind of do, but yeah, I guess you could say they do, but it's the AC being held on by the radiator. So you're going to have to just leave the AC alone. Like, don't worry about it. Like, nothing bad is going to happen. This happens when you take your car in. Also, one thing to note is that some bolts need WD-40 and others kind of don't. So make sure that you have WD-40 as well. If you think you're going to break the bolt, don't break the bolt. Use WD-40 and wait 10 minutes and go back. Now here we have the two main pieces, I guess you could say, and the two bolts that hold the radiator primarily to the vehicle, and you use your 12. This is the overflow tank. There's just a cap to it. be careful not to break the cap, and it comes out easy. Honestly, that should have been done right after you did your sensors, but I just did it later. And now look at how loose it is. Now it's gonna be pretty crappy to get the radiator out, but just take your time and try not to damage anything. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier is the way that I held the ratchet. You always want to hold a ratchet with two hands. Only reason I was using one hand is because I was holding the phone. And you actually were able to see my hand slip. That's how you damage vehicles, and that's what they taught me when I did work as a mechanic. So anyway, this is the comparison. Obviously, it needs a change. Long overdue. Now, if you're like me and you didn't change the fans, you'll need to do this. 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3. Now now they just kind of fold out, and just remember to clip them in at the bottom and then fold them back in. It's pretty simple, but you might have just got the cooling fans with it. It doesn't matter. These will still work, right? They're just fans. One thing I'm noting right here is that they go in a specific puzzle-like shape so that they be nice and snug in the engine, I guess. And then you just reverse order to put it back together. Pretty simple. And why I'm pointing at this bolt is because this, I'm not going to go through the whole process of putting it back together with you. I'm just going to tell you it's easy. Reverse the steps. But how to do this a little bit easier? Start with the top bolts like this. That'll hold your AC condenser back onto your radiator, so that it won't wiggle around all the time. And, you know, and it has to be done in the end anyway. And be careful not to strip the bolts as well when you're doing all this. It's literally 6 bolts total. What I'm pointing at here is the little spots. I forgot to mention this. No, well, I'm mentioning it now. So you'll notice when you take it out, there's like 2 little bumps at the bottom. You can go back in this video and look, whatever. And what I'll point out right here, see that little main circle, that dark circle? I might as well use the mouse. Right here, this is your radiator, and look at how snug it sits in this rubber. It's a bushing, so it's great. So you want to do those two top bolts, and then just look where these are, and then yeah, it's really easy. Like once everything's apart, just take a look down, and you'll see 2 holes where it would go. Just trying to help. Now, I mentioned that my car was a manual. Now, this is from an automatic Elantra. So it has this. And if yours is a automatic, whatever, and has these, just don't break it off like I did. It's easy. You just undo this nut. But I didn't care, so I just broke it off. I don't really have wrenches. So I was like, whatever. And right here is also a side. All it is just one of those clamps, rubber rad hoses again for automatic. How I tested that this would work, where these wouldn't leak out, because mine's a manual and this is from an automatic, right? So how I tested it was easy. I poured water down the radiator and I just let it pour out. I poured water down the radiator and I let it pour out, and it did not spout from either of the places. So there is no leaks in my engine. It's perfectly fine. Just, I guess, don't break it right at the bolt, I guess. Whatever, doesn't matter. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. My kinda tutorial. Have a great day. Peace.